to introduce Apee Ochudho, our fellow Rotarian. Apee was born in war-torn South Sudan, and as a child needed to flee the country to a refugee camp in Ethiopia. Then in the early 90s, he was brought to the United States as a refugee with Lutheran Social Service. He's graduated from the University of Minnesota. He has been a finance professional at TCF, at Wells Fargo, and currently at Country Financial. Sorry. And in the 2014, Apee spent a couple of years, went back to South Sudan, and he was the deputy governor as well as the finance minister of South Sudan, of Obama State in South Sudan. So with that, I'm very excited to hear Apee talk about South Sudan and enlighten us all on more of what's going on there.
When I came back from South Sudan, in 2016, I ran into one of my classmates here in Minneapolis at gas station. He saw me, I did not see him. He said hello, and I look up and I recognize him. We chat. After we chat, he said, "Oh, you're from Sudan, right?" I told him, no, I'm from South Sudan. And then we laughed. He thought he mistaken me, but actually I was wrong. Because when I met him in 2002, 2003, I was actually originally from Sudan, not South Sudan. So the changes that have happened, he was not updated to it. But I know the audience here is well versed on international, so you know what is going on. So you probably have heard about it. So, but what I'm going to do today is just to share with you. Okay? Before I do that, I want to thank Mary for a warm introduction, and then Deb for her leadership, and Terry for the PowerPoint. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about four things. One is geography, where South Sudan is, and then brief history. After that, I will talk about the challenges that are facing South Sudan. And the last, I will talk about opportunity, things that are really are there to develop the country. Okay? So South Sudan, as you can see, is right there. Okay, the map of South Sudan, that is the map of South Sudan. I'm from here. That is the border of Ethiopia. Yep. So I am from here. So if you look at that map, the Lado, the person sitting with me there is from here. So we are from different states, right? It's 2 hours to go from here to here. It's 2 hours. It's a little bit far away. Okay. This is the picture of Juba now. This is the capital, where Lado is from. Okay, the name, these are just basic information about South Sudan. So the official name is Republic of South Sudan. It became independent in 2011, July. Population estimate 12 million by World Bank in 2016. There are 64 tribes. When we say tribes, these are the people who are originally from there, but there are other people that have come. Everybody is there, but the original people, inhabitants of the area are 64. Border Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Congo, and Central African Republic, and the Sudan in the north. South Sudan, when it became independent in 2016, it became the 54th fully recognized sovereign state country with the 9 territory and 2 de facto independent state within limited or recognized, like Morocco. So there is a territory in Morocco that is semi-independent, it's not independent, still being disputed. So there are 54 states. South Sudan, as you all know, it was part of Sudan, so it was a country, one country. Historically, there are different kingdoms within Sudan, but the most dominant that we are aware of, it was Kush kingdom that existed from 780 to 755. And then after that, Ottoman Empire took over Sudan. It's not the whole territory, but only the northern part. And then they will come to southern part, but they were not in control. It was very vast area, so they control only the capital. And then in 18, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump, so most of the little detail may not necessary, okay? Okay, in 1885, Mahdi revolt against Egyptian, because when the Ottoman Empire was leaving, Egypt took over, more or less. It controlled the area, and so Mahdi fought Egypt, and like for almost 4 years. After that, Sudan, which is it became the caliphate of Omdurman for a brief period of time, and then British and Egypt took over from 1899 to 1956. When the country became independent in 1956, we thought our problem had ended, but that was the beginning of another war now. With this, when the British was preparing to leave after the Second World War, they convened a meeting, conference in Juba this year. That conference, when British was in charge of Sudan, at that time they have 2 governors. There's one governor for South Sudan, there's one governor for North Sudan. So they did not like rule the country as one country. So when they were preparing to leave, they convened a meeting in Juba so that they can discuss the status, like when they leave, what will happen after them. So in that meeting, at that time there were no agreement really. South Sudan was represented by chiefs. North Sudan was represented by more educated people. And so they agree that Sudan will be united as one country, but the leadership, most of the leadership of South Sudan did not agree. And that is the beginning of civil war now. After that conference, when the British was leaving, then the first civil war started. The reason for civil war, there are too many. I'm not going to focus on them, but I'm just going to give you a picture. And so in 1955, which is when the British was preparing to leave here, Joseph Lako revolt against the rule, like the giving of power to the northern part. And so the 17 Years' War began. In 1972, the agreement was reached. That agreement did not live long. So in 1983, because when this agreement was reached, at that time South Sudan was given autonomy. They were given a legislative assembly with a president, regional president, who was technically the vice president in the north. But that agreement was not honored in 1980-81. And so the second civil war started by Dr. John Garang Mabir, who went to school here. He went to school in Iowa. So that is him. He began the 21 Civil War. And that civil war ended in 2005, not 2015, 2005. And go down. And the agreement was reached really of which of the U.S. play a very important role. And the reason for that is that during the SPLA, so when this movement was created, at that time was during the fighting between Soviet and America. And at that time, SPLA went to Ethiopia because it did not have any other country that will support it. Ethiopia was allied of Soviet Union, and so it was supported by Soviet Union. In 91, when the changes were coming, when Soviet Union fell, at that time, inside the government in Khartoum, a more Islamic group took over, which is Trawi and the current president, Omar Bashir. When they took over, they cut off the relationship between U.S. and Sudan. And so therefore, in 1991, SPLA then built relationship. They came in together with the representative of U.S. and that alliances then begin to like build a new coalition in the regional. We start first with Clinton. Clinton supported SPLA, encouraged the regional countries, which is Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia, to move away from Sudan and to reach agreement. So with that push, when Clinton came, finished his term, when Bush came, Bush really pushed very hard. And so the agreement of 2005 was reached because of the U.S. Support. So I'm just giving you a little bit of what it is. Okay, right now the problem after 2005, when the agreement was reached, we thought now peace will come to the country. There was support, a lot of international support. U.S. was also very supportive. And so they spent a lot of money encouraging the new governing. But in 2013, the third civil war then started, which is where we are now. And the country right now is really in terrible shape because of the new civil war. So there's no agreement in the country. There continue to be a push, underdevelopment, very weak institution, education. There are a lot of challenge in terms of those things. Okay, continue. Okay, South Sudan is very rich. There are a lot of opportunity really. If there is peace, the country can develop. There's oil, which is sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. So if you look at Saudi, Kuwait, another Arab rich country, so if you look at those countries, it's good. But if you look at other countries that have oil, it's not so good. There is gold. There are a lot of gold. So if you look here, there are a lot of golds here. From where I come from, this area here is very rich in gold. Oil is in the northern part of the country here. In Equatoria too, this area has gold. Go back. So there are a lot of gold. Soil is very rich. Go down. So you can see this here. I was sent this picture like a couple of weeks ago from my own village where I am from. So there's no chemicals. This is simple, natural soil. So the country is very rich in terms of soil. Soil is really good. There are a lot of water, like about, I would say about 50% of the country really is where Nile is, and there are a lot of water. So if there is peace, it's easy to develop the region.
Grain was that?
Huh?
What kind of
Grain.
grain is that?
It's wheat.
It's wheat?
Yeah.
It's a sorghum or millet.
Sorghum, yeah, we can call it a different. So yeah, it's really good. So this is the local how it's made. This is local. There's no machines because of the 50 years war. So the country really does not have machines. So this is the local way of making it, of turning it into food. I don't know if you call it milling, but it's not. It's a local way of turning it. So they make it here. You see that? That is how they do it. They do it. Okay, I'll go down. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, I have 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, you have about 6 minutes left.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do is just to give you an overview picture so that you can get an idea, and then I can take questions from you. It's really it's very big subject, so I thought of condensing it, but it's not easy to condense it.
Tell us more about what you did when you were back in the government.
When I was, okay, thank you for the question. When I went back here, I was working for Wells Fargo at that time as a mortgage consultant in downtown Minneapolis. So when I went back, at that time, I was going there to see my family. My mom and dad were still there, so I go there periodically. So when I got there, I met with the new governor that was appointed. There were a new state that was created. So when I met him, he said, "Apee, I want you to work to help me. So I want you to support me." So I talked to him. We went to legislature assembly. We spoke with the speaker. After that, he said, we need people like you with the skill. So I want you to become my deputy so you can help us. So I thought, okay. So he appointed me. When he appointed me, then we created a blueprint for economic education, because the whole area, when he appointed me, only 3 schools. So one from 1st grade to 6th grade. The other one is from, if you can go back so that people can see what I'm talking about. Okay, from the other one is, the other school from another town is 1 through 3rd. The other one is just 1, 2. So there's no teachers today, there are teachers tomorrow. So there's no school, functioning school really, if you want. And so what we did, we came up with the plan, health. Okay, so if you look here, there's school up to 6th grade on the border of Ethiopia here. And then the one in the capital, which is called Bibor here, is somewhere here, is 1 through 4th grade. The other one is right here. That one is 1, 2, there's no teachers. And so it was not functioning. There's no functioning school. So what we came up with, we created a blueprint. We presented to the central government in Juba. When we presented to the central government in Juba, they say, okay, when budget is start, then we will give you money. So budget did not come really soon. So we talked with UNICEF. So UNICEF said, okay, if you build the centers, we will be able to pay for teachers. So we built a school, 18 of them in the major area. So the state is about 400,000 people in this area, 400,000. So we created 18 centers. With those 18 centers, some start from 1 through 3rd, other one start from, it depends on the education level in that area. And so UNICEF supported the teachers. And then after 2 years of doing that, the governor was removed. for some political reason. And so I thought I should come back, so I came back because the new person was not planning to continue with the project that we started. As we speak right now, the governor that I work with was returned, but before he was returned, all of the program that we had disappeared. So there were not functioning teachers. UNICEF did not want to continue to cooperate with the new government because they were not supporting the school as we were. And so the second thing we did is health center. Right now there is only one existing hospital here. So all of this population in this area, there is no functioning health system. So we created 7 of them, 7 health center. With those health center, UNICEF provided some of the support, and then IMA, which is an American organization, supported. They provided 3 doctors to this one here, one in this area. They pay for some of the nurse. That program took club when we were removed. So because the opposition controlled this area here, and so there are a lot of insecurity in this area. So everything collapsed after we were removed. And so this year, in January, because the people who were brought after us, everything collapsed. They brought the governor that I work with. They brought him back. So now he's the new governor. He wants to continue. He wants to jumpstart the program that we started. So we are working on inviting him to come here, maybe in July, so that we can introduce him to some people who are interested in the area, so that he can continue with school, and you can go ahead.
I have a quick comment and a question. Comment is, in Goma, your state, there is so much gold, you said. What are you doing here? You should go in gold business. But serious question is this. I understand the reason for the civil war between North Sudan and South Sudan. That was sort of, I think, were the distance.
Right.
But now, once you were divided, why is there a civil war now? What's the difference between people? Why are they fighting?
So, and my question
I will
is,
answer.
yeah, my question is just how secure is Goma right now? What's the security situation in that area?
Okay, 2 questions. So for Abdu, the question is that if you did not hear it in the back, is why there is now a war in South Sudan. Before, it was between South and North, which is right here, and there were elements of religious, tribe, and color involved. I did not get to these issues because they are very complex. I don't want to bore you with who was right, who was wrong. But, okay, what it is that the civil war between South and North were religious. Those in charge in the North introduced Sharia, which is Islamic law. If you are Christian, you cannot really hold higher office. You cannot become president. Most of the leadership in the South thought that was a crazy idea. You cannot become a president in your own country. So that was one of the bigger element. But now it's more of, we thought the problem has ended, but when we came back to South Sudan, the question of tribe became the dominance. So the SPLA was created to liberate the South Sudan, to free the African, but when the country became independent, some of those in charge, those of bigger community, thought the states now belong to them. If you are not one of them, you cannot really participate. And so that is where things are. I don't want to go to name calling, but that is where it is now. On why I'm here, so it's not stable, 1. 2, I went to school here. I grew up here. And so I feel more comfortable here, but I thought because I left the country when most of the people, like from my own village, 5 villages that compose one village. A person who has a degree in all these 5 villages is only me. So I thought there's sort of obligation for me to go back. And so that was the reason. So I thought people were fighting. I thought I got the opportunity, so it may be better for me to go and help out. So that was what drive me. Otherwise, I could have stayed here.
Thank you, Apee. That was really.